Mike Pendleton here with SureDog.com and more PFL interviews as April 11th, this man returns to the Windy City of Chicago for another amazing event for the PFL. He is the one and only Biaggio Ali Walsh. Biaggio had the chance to see you a couple times last year and was at your fight in Charlotte. You blew the roof off the place. Just kind of getting right into it, man. How excited are you to go back to Chicago, a place where it feels like you're out for a little bit of revenge?
Oh, dude, I'm so excited. I'm more excited to just even fight in Chicago, not even revenge, really. For me, it's my whole family's from out there. I was born in Chicago. I moved to Vegas when I was 6. And both my mom's side's from Chicago, my dad's side's from Chicago. We're all from Chicago, so a lot of family will be there. That's what I'm most excited for. But yeah, and I'm also excited to put on a good fight for the fans.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that because you're obviously so supported by your family. You obviously have a great fan base as well, great lineage that everyone knows about. And for the first time in like the last 3 years that we've done interviews, I'm not going to ask you about all the upbringing and your grandfather. Like we've done that enough, right?
That's okay.
It is time to focus on Biagio Ali Walsh, but I do have to ask when you have so much support, what does that do for you? I'm not specifically talking about fight day, whether it be fight week or while you're cutting weight, thinking outside of the box that maybe sometimes fans don't think about what you might go through having that support system on fight week.
It means everything to me. My parents, they've been so supportive of me and my brother ever since we were little kids when we played flag football. Once my brother got into boxing, they were supportive. I was playing tackle football in high school and college. They were supportive. It means so much and it goes such a long way. The support motivates people. When people feel like people are supporting them, they feel motivated. They feel like it's almost like a fire that's being lit in them when they feel especially family supporting you. So man, it goes a long way. It makes me feel good. It gets me excited.
Now, I know the crowd's going to be on fire for you. And we've looked at and I've had the opportunity to talk to you throughout most of your career thus far, with the PFL. Entering 2026, where are you at mentally on how you're approaching your career at this point?
I think I'm the thing I love about this sport is you're always learning. It's a learning journey. Win, lose, draw, you're always learning something. Some guy that might be in the game for 30 years will see something happen in a fight and he'll learn from that. So it's a learning journey. That's where I feel mentally. I'm always going to learn in each and every fight. I'm always going to try to get better and better. Um, yeah, and also a big thing too is acceptance, right? Before a fight, there's things you have to accept. I might get hurt. I might, the X, Y, and Z can happen. And you have to be able to accept that in order to kind of free yourself in there from feeling hesitant or tight. You want to be on your best performance, and a lot of that for me has a lot to do with acceptance. I believe in God. I'm a big in my faith, and I believe every outcome was already written before any of us existed. So, and accepting that is something that really helps me mentally before fights. The only thing, there's two recipes for me in success, and that's one, you trust God, and two, you do your best. And that's the mentality that I have going into every fight. And I'm learning more and more, and I feel like that mental is getting better and better each fight.
Is there any other reason to buy tickets to April 11th? I mean, you could sell the car just based on your thought process on that. And I know the PFL has switched up the format. I'm going to ask you about that here in a moment. But when you look at like this is no longer a year by year case for the PFL, but as a fighter, every year presents new opportunities, new challenges. So when you talk about acceptance, I guess as we sit here talking just over a week before your fight, what have you accepted about yourself, about this year, and about your career going into 2026?
One of the biggest things that I feel like I have to accept is things may not go my way. I have a plan, right? But my plan doesn't compare to God's plan. We're talking about the creator of everything, the creator of every human, every cell that's within their body, everything, you know. So my plan has no comparison to God's plan. And that's for me, like that's the biggest acceptance is things may not go my way, but you have to trust in God. And you know, that it like that mindset alone, I feel like translates to anything you do in life, right? Like you're working a blue collar job and you want to get promoted. You may not, you know, you have to accept that, you know. So that's how I feel, you know, even with the PFL, you know, things may not go my way. There's certain things I want, there's certain things I might get, but you might not get everything you want, you know. So these are just they're kind of very simple and basic thought processes, but I think it's the most effective.
I love that, and I love how open you are with your faith. You know, for a guy like me, like everything you're saying goes back to a guy we all know in the motivation space, Jocko, right? And his famous
Mhm,
good speech. You know, might
mhm,
get tapped out good. You know,
mhm,
this job wasn't ready, good. So I
mhm,
love that, and I
mhm.
think that's a great way to enter this year. Now, Dash Harris, he is an undefeated guy, very very young in his career. You're also just building along the way. Is this the right challenge for you where you're at in your career?
Yeah, I think it's a great challenge. You know, Dash is a very athletic dude. Um, I'm not sure how his amateur career was. I might have checked as soon as he got booked, but I seen a couple of his fights, took notes, and then just rolled with it. Very athletic dude, seems like a nice guy. You know, he believes in God, and I love that too. You know, because I feel like, you know, when you fight another opponent who is very strong in his faith, there's a lot of respect there, and that's how I feel at least. But yeah, I think he's a great opponent. Athletic dude. You know, we'll test each other.
What's your biggest goal for your career or this year with the PFL in 2026?
My biggest goal is to get hopefully 3 wins this year. That's plain and simple. You know, some guys, you know, they have they have a whole list of goals. I just want 3 wins. Um, and alongside that, I want to get better. You know, even if it's not 3 wins, like I said, back to that acceptance thing. You know, if it's not 3 wins, I hope to get better. You know, I hope to learn, and it's going to be like that as I keep fighting more and more and more. You know, yeah.
Well, I'm going to ask this because it's a selfish question. Then we'll kind of get into some of the changes at the PFL. One of those things, mean we're seeing the promotion going to towns that love fights and where fighters are beloved. And Biaggio, I mean, I don't have to tell you, you're pretty beloved. And training there at Extreme Couture, I mean, can we get you 3 wins and then have you campaign to bring the PFL back to Vegas? I mean,
Oh,
let-
dude, that would be awesome, dude. What, like, for me, fighting in Vegas is so much easier just because I don't have to travel. I can cut weight at home. Like, it just makes things so much easier. And every time I have a fight lined up, or I'm about to have a fight lined up, everyone here asks me, when you fighting in Vegas? When you fighting in Vegas? I'm like, bro, I don't know. You know, I'm in either Charlotte or my Florida or New York or Saudi Arabia. You know, it's I'm never in Vegas fighting, so I'll definitely campaign for that.
Listen, I'd be for it, right? Just
Yeah.
because I feel like the PFL is such a high, top-notch promotion. And if they're really going to make this a kind of their thing to get
Hmm.
behind their fighters and where they fight out of and going to their
Hmm.
backyards. I mean, I know the fight did not go his way, but I think Dalton Ross to kind of proved in Pittsburgh, man, you bring the local
Absolutely.
flavor to the city and
Absolutely.
everyone's going to buy in. And I think
Oh yeah.
you're right there in Vegas. I mean, we got to
Well,
have you there.
yeah, I mean, you know, if you look at it, you know, I played Bishop Gorman football here in Vegas. You know, at the time it was so big, you know, and I feel like I've made a pretty good name for myself out here. If I fight in Vegas, there's gonna be a lot of people there.
I think everywhere you fight, you're going to have a great fan base. But let me ask you
Thank you.
about this. There's been a lot of changes. No more season, no more tournament format. Let me start there. This kind of leaves a clear, blueprint to where you have to go and how. And I know you're focused on just one fight at a time, getting those 3 wins. But now that there's official ranking system and it feels just like a normal MMA format, how excited are you about that and the rankings being implemented this year?
I think it's really exciting, you know. It's kind of what we're used to, right? Like we're used to a champ and then dudes that are ranked in like the top 10 or top 15, right? We're kind of used to that. And I think the PFL bringing that is it helps fans understand what's going on a little bit more, I think. And I also think it opens up more opportunities for fighters, right? You got a number 8 guy, he's fighting a number 3 dude. That's basic understanding. We know what's going on there. And the PFL doing that, I think, is a very smart move. It's very broad for its audience. And yeah, I'm super excited to see where it goes. And I hope from what I've seen, it's been very successful. So I hope that it stays that way.
Yeah, I think there no need to mess with anything moving forward. I think we've
Hmm.
got the right team in place. I've got the right people in place and the right system in place. And
Hmm.
that guy leading the charge is John Martin, the new CEO. Now, I know this will be your first fight week under his power, his reign, really. Everything I've seen on social media is fighters just praising what his mindset is, his vision is, the changes he's made. And I know you haven't really experienced it all yet, but your thoughts on John Martin coming in and the changes he's made and the things he said about the future of the PFL.
Yeah. I actually last year sometime there was a convention in Saudi Arabia, and I had went out there and got to spend some time with John out there for that convention. And I love John. He's a good guy. He knows what he's talking about. He's a big sports fan. Um, we had a lot of conversations, a lot of talks, and he told me some things that he wants to do with the PFL, and he's doing exactly those things. And yeah, I think under his control, he's the great guy. He's the best guy actually to have. And yeah, I'm excited to be able to fight in front of him and show him.
I love that. And I think that's what MMA fans need to get behind, right? I know there's been a lot of names and a lot of changes, but it's not just here on this interview. Look everywhere you have to access the PFL. You're hearing the exact same thing over and over and over about John Martin. I'm
Hmm.
not just saying it. Look at the way Biaggio smiled speaking of John Martin. I think this company's in great hands. And with all that being said, how clear is your vision? Not just 3 wins, but hey, 3 wins, maybe end of 2026. Not only am I campaigning for a fight in Las Vegas, but also, do you envision yourself in the top 10 of the rankings?
Yeah, I see myself getting up there slowly but surely. Like you said, one fight at a time, one fight at a time, climb the ladder, and just get better and better and better. And then before you know it, I'll probably be in the top 10, and hopefully fighting for a belt. I'd like to get a belt at some point in my career. When I fight to obviously make a living of it, but before I even got into the sport, I told myself, how far can I go? And I want to see how far I can go. So win, lose, or draw, I'm going to keep fighting. I'm going to keep fighting until I see how far I can go until my body's weak. So, yeah, that's the goal. I'm excited to just for everything. There's so many things to talk about, but I'm excited for it all.
We will definitely talk more on fight week. So I'll end with this because it is April 11th. I will be there. Super excited. This is like the third straight fight I get to cover of yours in person. So who's the lucky one here? It is definitely me. What should the city of Chicago be expecting on April 11th?
Man, expect some just fireworks, man. Violence. I like to bring violence. I don't. I go in there to fight. I'm not trying to go in there to, obviously, fighting is like a chess match, but I don't want it. I don't want just a chess match. I want a fight. I want something gritty and dirty and mean, kind of like that early 2000s MMA. Just mean, gritty, like that Randy Couture, Matt Linlin, the Team Quest dudes. Just angry and mean. I want to be mean. So just expect mean.
I love it. Sign me up. Get your tickets online. Biaggio Ali Walsh, thank you as always for the time, man. I love your approach to everything that you're doing in life and in your career, and look forward to seeing you on Fight Night.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.